Good morning, class. Okay, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Amazing. Now, before we begin our math lesson today, I just wanted to go over a couple of things that we've done in the past that have helped us work really well together in groups. Because in today's math lesson, we will be working in groups, okay? So who can tell me some things that we have done? Yes, Casey. We listen when the other person's talking, that's right. Yeah, Tom? Yeah, we be respectful when other people are speaking and let everyone have a turn at talking. That's exactly right. Anyone else? Yep. Exactly. Sounds like we all know how to work really well in groups, so I'd love to see that kind of teamwork today when we do our group work, okay? Alright, so in today's lesson, we are going to be learning about perimeter and area, okay? You may or may have not have heard that before. Can I have a show of hands if anyone's heard of them terms before? A couple of you have, okay. Now, I want you to think back to grade 3. When we were in grade 3, we would measure things. Now, who can tell me what sort of things we measured? Yes, Lee. Yeah, we measured the sides of things, didn't we? And what did we use to measure the sides of things? Yep. Yeah, we used a ruler, just like this one, didn't we? Yeah. So, does anyone remember what the unit of measurement is called when we measure with a ruler like this one? Yep, Lola? Yep, we used centimeters. Was there any other units we used last year when we measured? Yeah? We did do a little bit of work with meters, didn't we? So today we're going to be using our rulers to measure not only one side of something, but we're actually going to be measuring around the whole shape. So if we have a square or a triangle, we'll be measuring around the whole thing. So, does anyone know what it's called when you measure around a whole shape? What are we finding if we measure around it? Yes. And we're finding the distance. Now we're finding the total distance around a shape. So that total distance around a shape is called the perimeter. Now, what's it called when we try to find all the space inside a shape? What are we finding when we do that? Yeah, Dylan? Yeah, the space inside. So when we find the space inside a shape, that's actually called finding the area, okay? So what we'll be doing today, let's have a look at our learning intention and success criteria. So our learning intention lets us know that today we will be measuring the perimeter and calculating the area of regular shapes using formal and informal units, okay? And by the end of the lesson, we'll know we're successful when we can identify what perimeter and area are, when we can measure perimeter using informal and formal units, and when we can calculate the area using informal and formal units. Okay? Let's look at an example, shall we? So, what is perimeter? Perimeter is the distance around the outside of the shape. Okay? Can you see how the outside of that shape is coloured in blue? Yeah? So that's the perimeter. When we look at all the sides and we add them all, we measure the distance of them all and we add it all together. Now, what is area? Area is the space inside the shape. So can you see how the inside of this shape's coloured in green? Yep, so that space there, that is the area, okay? Now, let's look at an example. So, we've got a rectangle here, don't we? Now, step 1 to find the perimeter is to measure all the sides, okay? So let's get our ruler. We must make sure that when we measure with our ruler, see the little line above the 0? Can you all see that? So we have to make sure that we measure from the 0, from this line. We cannot measure from the side of the ruler because that will not give us an accurate measurement, okay? So let's line up our 0 and let's count how many centimeters this is. Let's all count together, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just going to write that down here on my whiteboard. So we've got 5 centimeters for the first side, and we're going to add the next side to it. Let's line up our 0, shall we? And let's count. Okay, I want us to all count as a class. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Oh, hold up everyone, it just goes to 10. Remember, you gotta look at where it ends. So this one ends at 10 centimeters. So let's write that down. 10 centimeters plus, let's do our bottom one. Let's measure. Okay, line up our 0 and let's count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 centimeters. Write that down. And then we're going to add our last side, which is line up our 0. And everyone, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exactly, 10 centimeters. Now, if we add all these sides together, that's going to give us a perimeter. So let's add together, shall we? We've got, what's 5 plus 10? 15. So we'll do 15 centimeters plus, we can break that into two little equations. So we'll do the first two numbers added together, and we'll do the second two. So 15 centimeters plus, and what's 5 plus 10? 15 again, isn't it? 15 centimeters. Now, so 15 plus 15. Does anyone, let's set it out like this, hey? We'll go 15 plus 15. What's 5 plus 5? 10. Put the 0 down there, carry the 1. Now what's 1, 2, 3? It's 3. So 30 is our perimeter. But we can't forget to add the units. So we measured in centimeters, didn't we? Because on our ruler, this is centimeters. So we're going to put 30 centimeters equals the perimeter. Okay? Now, let's have a look. Yep, so perimeter equals 30 centimeters. So that's called, when we measure with centimeters or with the ruler, that is called formal units, okay? Because centimeters have been identified as a formal measurement of unit, okay? Now, we could actually measure, it doesn't just have to be with ruler. We could measure fingers if we want, and we could go, well, it's, what's that, 5, it could be 7 fingers. We could measure with my pen. We could stack up all the pens and see how long the side is with my pens. If we were to use something like fingers or pens, that's called using informal units, because fingers and pens aren't recognized as a formal measurement of unit, okay? Now, what we'll use for our next one, we might try and measure with paper clips, okay? So let's have a look. Because it would be too hard for me to hold them all up, I have put little pictures of paper clips, and we're going to count them, okay? So let's look at our first example. We've got, it's the same shape, but we're using paper clips to check the perimeter, okay? So let's look. 1, 2, 3. So the first side is 3 paper clips. What about the next side? 1, 2, everyone count with me. 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 paper clips for the next side. And then here, 1, 2, 3 for the bottom side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for that side. So if we are to add them all together, that will give us the perimeter, which in this case is 16 paper clips, okay? And we have to make sure we put our unit of measurement. So for this one, we use paper clips. So we've written 16 paper clips, okay? Now, why do we use different units? We use them because both can help us understand the perimeter of a shape, okay? Now, area. Because this is the first time we're learning about area, what we're going to do is we're going to count the square units inside of this shape, and that will tell us how many square units is in the area of this shape, okay? So let's go through and count them all together, shall we? We've got 1, 2, Tom, eyes up here, buddy. Okay, let's start again, guys. And I want everyone joining in, okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. Exactly. Up, stop there, guys. Remember, we're not just counting, we're counting the square units in this shape. And there was 16. So that means that the area of this rectangle is 16 square units. Okay? Now, we're going to move on to some group work now, guys. So group 1. Well, I should have mentioned this first, sorry. We're going to be working in 2 groups. This side of the class is going to be group 1. This side, you're going to be group 2. You both have a different activity. Once you complete your activity, we're going to swap to the other group, okay? Group 2, you're going to try out group 1's work. Group 1, you're going to go to group 2's work. With that being said, group 1, what you have today, you will have your worksheet. You will also have 2 shapes, some paper clips, a ruler, grid paper, clear grid paper, and you'll have your square tiles. Okay, I've got them all in little bundles here. In a moment, I'll get you to pick a partner out of your group 1 people. You will pick a partner of someone else in group 1, collect 1 lot of material between the 2 of you, and you will begin doing the worksheet, okay? What's on your worksheet is you'll be measuring on your 2 shapes the perimeter using both your ruler and the paper clips, okay? So you'll be doing formal and informal units, finding the perimeter. And then with the same 2 shapes, you'll be doing informal and formal units for the area as well. To do that, you'll be using your little square tiles and you'll be putting them to cover your shape completely, and you will count how many there is, and that will tell you the area, okay? And then after that, you'll be getting your clear grid paper, lining up your shape underneath, and you'll be counting how many square units on your grid paper there is to find the area of your shape. Now, there's a spot on your worksheet to write all of that information in, okay? Once you have finished, I want your groups to put your hands on your heads, and that will tell me that you are done, and I'll get you to move to group 2 work. Now, group 2, what I've got for you today, you will be working on the tablets, and you've got a worksheet as well. Now, on your tablet, there's already a website open, and it allows you to create shapes, and it tells you the area and perimeter of the shapes that you create. Okay, so on your worksheet, you've got 2 shapes you need to create. I've got the distances of each side written on there, and then you write that down, record the area and perimeter, which, like I said, is at the top of the website here. And then I need you to answer some questions about what you found when creating these shapes, okay? Alrighty, guys. I want you to all move respectfully and quietly around the class while grabbing your materials, and you may begin. So, what the kids will now be doing is they've got 2 worksheets. So as you can see here, where is it? Group 1, as I explained, will be finding the perimeter using paper clips and using a ruler, and that just teaches them how to do informal and formal measurements, like with the units. And then they'll be doing the same for the area, and that's basically just to get them familiar with finding the perimeter and recording that information and doing the calculations to add up the sides. Now, group 2, what they're going to be doing is they're going to actually be looking at the side lengths, and while the website does give them what the area and perimeter are, I'll be addressing a misconception through this by the shapes I've given have the same perimeter, but they do not have the same area, and I don't want them to assume that just because the shape has the same perimeter, well, the area must be the same. So through creating these 2 different shapes, they will get to experience and see, and it will be revealed through the questions as well, that despite having the same perimeter, the area is not always the same, and that's why you cannot assume, and you must make sure you measure and calculate these the perimeter and area accurately. You can't just assume. Okay, now I'll be walking around the classroom checking on the groups, and making sure that everyone's being respectful of each other's work and that the pairs are working well together. One person's not doing all the work, the other one's just sitting there quietly. I'll make sure they both are having a go at each formal and informal units of measurement, and that each kid gets a turn of creating the shape and answering the questions. Okay, now I'm going to get back into scene where we pretend that they've finished. Okay guys, it looks like everybody has finished up. Now I'm going to get you to all put your stuff back to the front of the desk. Make sure you've got your name on the worksheets, and I'd like a pile of all the finished worksheets on my desk. Thank you. Okay. Wonderful. Now, who can tell me what area is? Yes, Tommy. Yep, it's the space inside the shape, isn't it? And now what about perimeter? Who can tell me what perimeter is? Yes. Yep, it's the distance around the shape. Now, I would like us to have a look at our learning intention, and I want to see with your thumbs. Thumbs up if you feel like you achieved it. Thumbs down if you think you didn't. Thumbs sideways if you think you still need a little bit more practice, okay? So who thinks that they successfully measured the perimeter and calculated the area of regular shapes using informal and formal units? How do we feel? Oh, got some thumbs up. Couple sideways. Yeah, that's all right. And let's look at our success criteria. Could we identify what area and perimeter are? Yeah. Measure the perimeter using formal and informal units. So we did that in the group 1's worksheet. Yeah, amazing. And what about calculate the area using informal and formal units? Awesome, guys. So don't worry if you're not feeling that confident yet. This is our first lesson learning it. So we will have more time next lesson to have some more practice, to look at different shapes, and we'll get the hang of it, okay? You all did really well today, and I'm really proud of how you went. Now,